of it all, untouchable, a new animal. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Jeremy LaRose. This is LSH Live. Thank you so much for sending your video in, being a part of this, and sharing our post. We're so thankful to have people that need help with their horses and appreciate what we're trying to do. Love the video. I think you're doing a great job. You're a good little rider. Your horse looks really soft. I love how quiet you are with your hands, how soft you are. There's a couple things we want to change about the workout itself and kind of what you're doing with him with your riding. Maybe one of the biggest things is that we want to ask for more than what we need. And that's a little bit different, right? So when you're riding, you're doing a good job of getting him exactly where you want him to be. Like you've got his neck down, he's in a shape, he's using his back end. But the big thing that we want out of our horses is that we want more. So, like, the example we always give is if I had to train for a 2-mile marathon, I'm not going to go out there and train just 2 miles. So for me, if I want to have confidence that on marathon day, I can perform at the top of my ability and I know I'm going to crush it, I'm going to practice at 5 or 10 miles. Because 2 miles then is going to be simple. It's going to be so easy. So we kind of think about our horses the same way. I want to make the show super easy. So if we're not pushing really hard at home, if we're just pushing to where we'd like him to be at the show, if we're only riding to where he feels good, then we're not going to be in a great spot to be super confident about when we go to the show. So probably my biggest piece of advice for you is just to ask for more, right? Ask for more than what you need. So like right here, you've got him in your hands. He's staying down in the bridle, but we're not really asking him to bridle up, and we're not asking him to really drive hard around here. We're just kind of, like, to me, treading water, right? We're right where we want to be to show. The problem with that is we're in a training fork, right? Even if we're not relying on it a whole lot, we're still in it, which means on show day, we're going to take the training fork off and we're going to have a problem. So with the training fork, I want to get him extra. I want to get him a bit more than what I actually need, because otherwise, when I take that training fork off, I'm going to be in a mess. I love the fact that you're doing counter canters. I love that you're doing indirect turns. All those are great. But again, let's press a little bit harder. Let's ask for a little bit more out of our horse. You can see where he's snorting right there. He's blowing. He's not happy about it. We want to increase the level of intensity of our workout so that he tolerates and accepts that kind of easy counter canter that we were asking him to do there. That wasn't an overly complicated maneuver. That was just a circle in reverse. So there's going to come a time where maybe in a pattern we have to do a counter canter, and I don't want that to irritate him. I don't want that to make him mad. The best way for a horse to start accepting more and accepting us asking more out of him is just to do that on a regular basis. So it's kind of like when you go and you've been lazy like over the summer before school starts. The first couple times you have to get up early, it sucks. And it's hard to do and you're cranky about it and you're not happy about it. But if you start getting up at 5 and kind of train yourself to accept, like, okay, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock. Then when you go to the show or you go and school starts and class doesn't start till 7 and you can sleep in, you actually think you're getting away with something and you feel good about it. So we kind of approach our horses the same way, where we want to ask for a lot more and a lot harder maneuvers, kind of pick up that horse and bring him to everything he's capable of, and then a little bit more past that, and then relax and then go show at everything he's capable of. Okay, so kind of think about your ride, kind of think about the mentality behind the maneuvers a little bit more so that you're asking for a bit more than what you actually need so that you get more on show day. One of the things that's going to help you a lot is being able to move up and down the reins. So you're kind of stuck on this one rein length, which is going to prevent you from really asking for a whole lot. You pick your hands up in front of you, which is great, but you see where we don't really ask for any chin. So then my question is, why are your hands up? You know what I mean? Like, if we're not directly asking for something, if we're not asking for a lot, then what are we doing? We're just turning, and we can do that out of our eyes and our seat and our outside foot. We don't really need our hand to do that. If you were going to turn and ask for a lot, I want it to look like this. See how you're rocking him onto his butt, you're bringing him onto his back end. That's what every corner should look like in my world, where I want to sit on that back end. You see where he really loads that back end here for your indirects. We want him to maintain that position through your lope off. So this would be a left lead lope off, and we would set him up here, and he steps forward, right? So he uses his neck, lifts his head to lope off. I want to see him stay engaged behind because he kind of gets away from you right there. Don't be afraid to stop, back up, indirect again, lope off, stop, back up, indirect. And if he misses it and continues to miss it, then just correct it and do like 4 in a row. It's really hard for our horse to learn if we're only doing 1 in a row because he may or may not do it better on the way out, right? So like this would be a right turn. I don't love this kind of attitude he's giving us through the turn. He's swishing his tail and he's kind of pinning his ears at us. So I might stay there until he softens up a little bit to where I don't have to attack him with my foot. So one of the big things that we see when you go to turn is that attacking with your spur. Remember, there's a timing to this. Anytime you spur him when he's unable to move a leg, it's ineffective and it's just going to make him mad. So remember that when you go to turn. And this is the turn I'm talking about. So when you go to this turn, remember, pressure means move away. So if our leg is so busy right here and he's not really turning, you got to think about your spur only can move right now. That's the only time you can spur him. So we'll play this back. We'll kind of take a look at that again. If he's got his legs crossed over and you continue to spur him, we're kind of asking for him to move a leg that he can't move. And anytime you do that, he's going to get frustrated and mad. So the only time he can move a leg, now you spur and follow that left front across, and now you relax and just maintain. Spur, follow that leg across, and then maintain. So see where you're like reloaded. He's got his weight just planted, and you're just spurring him, right? You're just raking that foot across his body, and you see that tail swish. He's unable to move a leg. So if you want to do that yourself, stand, bring your left leg over your right so you're crossed, and then have somebody push you from the left side. You can't move, right? You're going to fall over. So he's not going to fall over because he's got self-preservation. So in his world, he's just going to get mad and try to kick out of your foot or lean against it or whatever. Remember, we want to spur, follow, spur, follow, spur, follow. So you're kind of thinking about, I'm going to lift his left front off the ground now. Now I just need him to move, right? My spur's on, move over, spur now, and ask him to move that leg. And then all I need is movement, right? I don't need that leg crossing over. It's as far as it can go. So don't be afraid to use your voice and ask for a little bit of movement. And that'll be for your indirect turns, your turnarounds like this, your backups, your lope, right? There's only a time that you can spur him is when that leg's coming off the ground. If that leg's crossed over, if he's got his weight on the opposite leg, he cannot move that leg. So there's no sense in spurring on it. What we will do is hold our left leg here and then tap our right leg if we need momentum, if we need movement, right? So I'm going to use my voice and tap my right leg. So here's my left leg, bring it across. Now this is a right leg tap, move your right leg. Now here's a left leg push and move your left leg. And that's kind of how we address getting our horses to turn around a little bit faster and load their back in. You see where he kind of gets a little tripped up here. He steps in front sometimes, he steps behind sometimes. We want him to get consistent through that. The only way he's going to get consistent is if he's confident. If we're attacking him with our foot, he's never going to get confident with it. There's never a time that we're like, hey, that's exactly the step I was looking for. Get out, reach down, pet him, and say thank you. The other piece I want you to keep in mind is he kind of surges to the log here. Rather than hold him up, like right there, you kind of hold him back, just shut it down, right? If he's going to surge to the log, I want him to lope over that log as if it wasn't there. So I want to maintain the natural rhythm and cadence that he has as if the log was just a patch of dirt or a shadow, right? I don't want him to alter his stride coming up to that log on his own. So if you're reaching up to hold him back, just call that mistake, own it, shut him down, back him up, maybe do a turn, rock him over his hips, and then lope back at that log again until he lopes over it like it wasn't there. There's a couple times that he like sucks back or surges forward over the log. I don't want him to reach for it ever. If he messes up, it's because I've got the log in a bad place. In an arena like this, that's like 80 or 100 wide, you're going to have to give yourself a little bit more time to set up to go to that log so that you can time your strides out a little bit more. You don't go all the way to the wall coming through. So that log, you kind of come at an angle, which is hard for him to adjust. It's hard for you to plan. So when you're practicing this trail stuff, don't be afraid to like get yourself some room, get yourself a running start at it so you can learn to gauge your strides a little bit easier. What will help with that is getting him a little bit more rhythmic in his strides. He's really clean up front. I like the way he like steps through, but his back end tends to tighten up and it tends to get a little bit short on you, especially when you're jogging to the right. So on his right hind, he kind of doesn't step through all the way. So getting that right hind a little bit more flexible by either keeping his hips open off your left leg or keeping his rib cage soft on the right will keep him from getting lazy on that right hind, which will let you get over the log a little bit easier. So here, when you go over this log, it's a big hit, and it's because you got an even step with both front legs, and your left hind matches that step, but right here, your right hind gets lazy. So you see where you're circling over that right hind, and instead of that leg stepping up all the way, it steps a bit short. So you're going to come over this, and you're going to get a funky step right here, and that's a big hit out of your right hind. So keep that in mind, kind of keep your horse even on both sides. Work on those hips, work on pressing them around. I think a maneuver that would help you a lot is a lot of lateral stuff. So like some side passing, some two tracking across the arena, getting him really soft and flexible in his ribs. Because the softer and the more flexible he is in his ribs, the easier it's going to be for someone like you with shorter legs to keep his belly up, which is really the piece that you're missing. Because like if you look at his lope right here, he's stepping up behind and he's got his front end working, but because he's not using the middle underneath of you see that neck start going, right? So right there, he slowed down a lot and rocked back, but he wasn't using the middle to transfer the power that he was making behind through his front leg. So that's why you get that head nod. All in all, you're doing a great job with him. Stick with it, keep working at it, keep learning as much as you can, and just ask for a little bit more. All right. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to send them in. Thank you so much for your video. We'd love some feedback. If you liked it, if you loved it, don't be afraid to pass it around, share it on social media, clips of it, whatever you want to do. This is yours. You can do what you want with it. Again, I'm Jeremy LaRose. This is LSH Live. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.